Did you know that one of the Dutch national pride is actually a cheap 17th century knockoff of Chinese porcelain? This is Delft Blue, iconic, Dutch, expensive. But it's not original. When the Ming Dynasty collapsed and the supply of white gold stopped, the Dutch didn't innovate. They pioneered the exact same tactics the West now condemns. They replicated. But here's the secret. They couldn't even get the material right. Real Chinese porcelain is a miracle of minerals and heat. Delftware, it was a porous earthenware with a layer of tin glaze to make it look premium. It was fake porcelain, sold as the real thing. For 400 years, the Dutch marketed the imitation as a national masterpiece. The West didn't just inherit the trade, they learned how to brand a copy better than the original creators. Did you know that the British Empire once executed corporate heist that changed the global economy forever? In 1848, Britain wanted to break China's dominance in the tea trade. They sent Robert Fortune, a botanist who disguised himself as a local merchant, to infiltrate China's protected tea-growing regions. Fortune smuggled out 20,000 tea plants and convinced skilled tea masters to leave for India under false pretenses. This wasn't just finding plants, it was a systematic theft of centuries-old intellectual property and processing techniques. The results? India became the world's leading tea producer and China's share of the global market collapsed. It was a massive transfer of wealth and technology achieved through espionage rather than open competition. Did you know that around 1820 China was responsible for around 1/3 of the entire global economy? Data from economist Angus Madison shows that China's share of global GDP was 33%. To put that in perspective, it was larger than the estimated economic output of all Western Europe's major economies combined at the time. This wasn't driven by empire or colonization, but by population size, productivity, and internal trade networks. Their current growth isn't a new phenomenon, but the return of historical position. The decline that followed wasn't just about market shifts or bad policy choices. It was accelerated by the Opium Wars and unequal treaties, which forced the economy to open on Western terms under military pressure. The wealth didn't simply disappear. Large parts of it were extracted through unequal treaties, forced trade regimes, and loss of economic sovereignty. What we're seeing today isn't a sudden rise of something new, but a large economy regaining historical weight after a long disruption. Did you know that China helped win World War I and then refused to sign the peace treaty? Here's why. In 1917, China joined the Allied side, not with combat troops, but with over 140,000 laborers. They repaired trenches, transported ammunition, cleared battlefields, and maintained supply lines across the Western Front. In return, China expected one outcome, that the German-controlled territory of Shandong would be restored to Chinese sovereignty. But at the Treaty of Versailles in 1919, the territory was transferred, not back to China, but to Japan. The decision reflected earlier wartime agreements between European powers and Japan. China's delegation refused to sign the treaty. It became the only allied associated country to reject the agreement. News of the decision sparked nationwide protests, the May 4th movement, a pivotal moment in modern Chinese political development. What appeared in Europe as a diplomatic clause became a lasting political memory in China. Did you know that in 1948, parts of China's national gold reserve was moved across the Pacific during the Civil War? By 1948, China was experiencing extreme hyperinflation. The new gold yuan currency collapsed within months. Paper money lost public trust. Gold became the government's final financial anchor. As communist forces advanced, the nationalist government began relocating reserves to prevent capture. Most of the gold was evacuated to Taiwan, but some reserves and financial assets were also placed overseas, including in the United States, as part of international banking and credit arrangements. In the US, foreign gold could be held in custody accounts, often through Federal Reserve banking channels. These arrangements were legal and tied to recognition of the Republic of China government. When the new government took power in Beijing in 1949, the United States continued recognizing the Republic of China. That recognition determined who legally controlled overseas Chinese assets. Not ideology, recognition. So the gold issue wasn't simply about transport, it became part of a larger diplomatic and legal dispute shaped by Cold War politics. Financial custody turned into geopolitical leverage. Now you know China a little bit better.